Hey Blades fans, welcome back to another Florida Everblades pregame show from Hertz Arena. Alongside Jake Maurice, I'm Allie Vellucci. Jake, back in Hertz for the last regular season matchup between Jacksonville and us here in the regular season. A team we could be seeing here in playoffs starting next week. What do you expect coming into this one?
Yeah, this is going to be the only playoff team the Everblades play until the end of the year. Florida's now clinched their spot, so that takes a huge weight off of the Everblades' shoulders. You know you're in. But this matchup is really important for Florida. They need to get this one if they want to have home ice in the first round. Everblades have been a much better team here in Hertz Arena than on the road. Fans, a big factor of that, all the comforts of your home. And you want to start the playoffs off the right way. The best way to do that is to start game one in your own barn. So this, even though the Everblades have clinched a playoff spot, I wouldn't go so far maybe as to say must win, but a win here tonight would really help the Blades' long-term ambitions of defending their Kelly Cup title.
We saw some of Florida's road struggles here this past weekend in South Carolina, 0-2 on the weekend. Head coach Brad Ruff has said patience is a huge part of their game recently. What do you expect, or how do you expect them to carry into this one after going 0-2 on the weekend?
Well, we did see some of that patience, squeaking a point out of the game on Saturday. Zach Ewens tying it up with less than 2 minutes to go was big for Florida. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the win in the shootout. But yeah, you're going to need to be patient because against a team like Jacksonville that is very stingy, they don't give you a whole lot. They're very disciplined. Chances aren't going to be coming all too often as they would against a team like Orlando, where the Everblades have had some run and gun style games this year. So you've just got to not get frustrated. Don't take any dumb penalties to give Jacksonville opportunities, and just trust that if you play into your system and you trust that your teammates will do the same, the chances will come, and then you just got to be opportunistic, which the Blades have been at points this year to pick up some huge wins like a couple weeks ago in Atlanta.
We can expect Jacksonville to come into this one hot. They lost to us last week on Wednesday, a week ago today, 4-2. The physicality played a huge aspect in last Wednesday's game as well. What are we expecting to see here with the physicality aspect?
Yeah, in Jacksonville, they're coming off their last two home games of the season, 2 wins against Atlanta that have them in a pretty good spot. They're a team that's feeling good about themselves right now. So I would anticipate that we're going to see the Icemen's best. This team right now for Jacksonville, they do have a lot of injuries, but they don't have anyone right now except for Travis Howe up in the AHL, so it's pretty close to a full-strength roster for the Icemen right now. I would expect that we're going to see a defensive game, heavy hitting, physical, typical South Division hockey, and honestly, the Jacksonville Icemen, if I had to pick any opponent in the division for Florida to play as a tune-up for the playoffs, Jacksonville would probably be number 1. So it's really going to help the Everblades playing against a strong team like Jacksonville to get ready for the first round.
Speaking of injuries and some roster changes, lineup changes, some new faces, or maybe some familiar faces that are back on our roster here. Forward Will Calverley signed an SPC here on Monday. He was on a PTO, came in, made a difference right away. Defenseman Olivier LeBlanc back from Cleveland, and then goalie Evan Fitzpatrick back from Charlotte. We have a kind of a stacked roster, something more than we've seen here, especially recently. How do you expect them to bring more game and more style to this team?
Well, it's game and style all up and down the line, which is great. You start from the back end. Evan Fitzpatrick gives the Everblades the reliable number 2 that he's been all season when he's been here. Problem is, just over the past couple months, he hasn't. Everblades have had to run Cam Johnson. Johnson's going to get the start tonight, but Fitzpatrick, he's going to get one of the 2 games coming up this weekend, and then into the playoffs. If you can't run Johnson for a night, you're not panicking because Fitzpatrick has given you great starts all season. On the back end, Olivier LeBlanc, solid, stay-at-home defenseman, physical, not going to be a huge factor on the score sheet, but he's going to be a really big factor keeping the other team off of it as well. And then Will Calverley, he's been really good in the 5 games he's played for the Everblades so far. At first, when he was released from his PTO, I was really shocked. I was like,
I think
felt because he was a player
concerned.
that really belonged, but it makes sense that you got to release him and then you properly sign him. And it's great to see that number 36 will be back with the Blades because he's been a great addition to the team so far, and I expect that to continue going into the playoffs.
Special teams talk. Florida 1 for 3 on the power play last week against Jacksonville. Some unsung heroes there working really hard after Jake Smith was released a couple weeks ago. Who do you expect to see step up to the plate and maybe bring even more offensive style to the team and to the special teams overall?
Well, Calverley was the one who scored that goal, so him coming back is at the perfect time. Apart from that, as mentioned earlier, Jacksonville's really disciplined, so you really got to take advantage of the power play opportunities you do get. And to me, the biggest point of that goes to the guys at the blue line. Nathan Steo, Stefan LeBlanc, those guys who quarterback the power play, Lucas Kalba as well. When you're running things from the blue line, you dictate where the puck goes. You dictate how the power play is run, what looks you're going to try and set up. So it's going to be those guys who are going to have to be the smartest with the puck and the smartest with their vision to get the right plays going for the Everblades.
Blades fans, you know what time it is. Everyone's favorite part of the pregame show magic, calling out our number 1 star of the game. Jake, we've already talked about him. so much so far. Forward Will Calverley signed on Monday. I think he's going to come out strong. I think he's going to make a difference, have a little fire under him, and he's going to want to prove himself even more after that contract.
Yeah, and he got his first ECHL goal in this building last week against the same opponent, so hopefully he can keep that going.
Asked him about that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Zach Ewens. Scored the big tying goal to get the Everblades a point on Saturday. It's been impressive all season since coming down to the Blades. They're going to need him to play heavy minutes here tonight against Jacksonville. I'm looking forward to a good game from Zach Ewens tonight.
Big Wednesday night matchup. Jake, 3 keys to the game. What do you got?
Well, one of the main keys is going to be the Everblades' own discipline. We've talked about it with Jacksonville, but Florida isn't a team that takes too many penalties either, so you've got to make sure that you don't give up a disproportionate amount of advantages to Jacksonville, because their power play has got some real dangerous weapons on it. Don't want to give them a chance with that. Also, you got to make sure that you get pucks through to the net. Jacksonville, the strength of their game comes from their defensive zone play and their ability to get pucks out quickly and keep you to the outside, getting pucks through into the middle, whether that's through passes, shots, looking for a tip in the slot on the way to the net. Just got to make sure those pucks get through to the net. They're not blocked away and sent over to the wall.
All right, Blades fans, some Wednesday night hockey coming up for you from Hertz Arena. Warm-ups and puck drop are up next.